You're watching The Good Word, and it's time to bring in a guest to tell us about one of his favourite books. This local legend has been one of the lead singers of our national soundtrack for decades now, and has recently put out his own songbook through Craig Podden Publishing. I'm delighted to welcome the brilliant songwriter Dave Dobbyn. Hello, Dave.
Hi, Emily.
Hi,
how are you?
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Have a seat. Thanks
Thank
for
you
coming
very
on
much.
the show.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here. I'm honoured.
So, what's the book you brought in to talk about?
I brought in Journal by Helene Bear. This is... it's a wonderful book. It's a biography. It's her diaries, basically. She's a French woman, very young woman, in Paris under German occupation. And because she's a Jew, you get the story of the de-Jewing of Europe firsthand from her. And in fact, the end of the book is tragic. So it's kind of upside down in that you know that it's going to end badly. And then... so it's unusual in that respect.
How did you come across it?
Well, my wife is a complete devourer of books, our Aunt Alicia. She has a stack of them on her bedside and she just eats them, you know. So she had one sitting there and I pulled it out and I couldn't resist. So I started reading it and I couldn't put it down, absolutely couldn't put it down. I've just reread it too. And, you know, it's like often when you reread a book you find things that are that you missed the first time or your interest is awoken. And because she's such a cultured, young, educated woman...
She's from a sort of well-born family.
A well-born family in Paris. Like, she lived in quite near the Sorbonne, you know, and near the Luxembourg Gardens, and then so everything was really handy in Paris for her. So you get an idea of Parisian life and the beauty of it, and how culturally wonderful it is. And her own writing is just superb. And concise and musical and lyrical and everything, and she's a musician as well. So the whole fabric of her life is torn to pieces slowly and inexorably by the German, you know, machine, the Nazis. Because
she stayed and her family stayed in Paris for so long, it makes this book quite unique, doesn't it? I mean, reading it, of course, put me in mind of Anne Frank or Primo Levi's If This Is a Man, or Sweet Française, but it's a longer account of life in occupied Paris, and there's that extraordinary moment where they, you know, the edict comes down that they have to wear the star, and they're writing about what a torment that is for her. It's just, it's all so, it brings it so much to life for you. Doesn't it does,
It's almost like the mark of the beast in a way. The wearing of the star for her attitude from the start was that she would wear it in defiance of it, you know. So
to be proud and say, yes, this is a Jewish. I am a young Jewish woman. This is who we are.
Incredibly strong, strong woman, and a strong-willed woman too, and hopelessly romantic too. But you know, as you are when you're 23.
Yes, there's wonderful sort of love stories, tortured love stories going.
Yeah, there are. Too. So it's got a lot of subplots as well, and but I just loved it, and I'd read it again, and I'd recommend it to anybody. It's a must. And the thing about it is that because it's such a beautiful tale of humanity, tragic on one, ultimately tragic and evil on one hand, and so beautiful on another level, it brings the immediacy of the humanity of evil versus good into your own heart and into your own mind, and how recent the history is. And how, you know, how close it becomes, you know.
I agree. I think it really humanises those daily choices. You know, we wonder how would we behave in such a situation.
Exactly.
And she behaved, you know, a particular way with her courage and her respect for other people, and
she did.
Her fellow feeling, and other people made absolutely different choices, and she's unsparing about that.
Unsparing, a very, very brave woman.
Yeah.
And she died in Belsen 2 days after it was liberated, unfortunately. Yeah,
it's a terrible and beautiful book. And
it is.
Thanks very much for bringing it.
Oh, you're welcome, Emily.
Thank you. Dave Dobbyn's favourite book was Journal by Helene Bear, published by McElhoe's Press. And now we're off to meet this week's book club.
When we were forming it, and we're talking about what we wanted and why. And my daughters just looked at me in horror and said, "Mum, you can't have a book club. That's social suicide." So we nearly called ourselves that, but we thought we'd try and sound a bit more intelligent.
Why are we laughing?
one book that we all read once. It was unique, and I can't.
Wasn't it the Kite
Was it
Runner?
just when you started?
The Kite
I
Runner.
had more than one book where
I
everybody
reckon I've only had one.
I saw the movie and I thought I could be tempted to read the book.
But the movies are never the same as the books.
But that's what's good about them.
It's the Kite Runner.
That's what's good about them.
Kite Runner and My Father's Den.
Yeah.
Because what we do, it's a book club thing. You go along to a movie and what you're looking at is somebody's perspective of the book. Yeah.
When the movie actually is created from somebody's perspective, it quite often I find disappointing because their perspective differs so much from mine, perhaps, that the image of the characters and the places and things like that are lost. And for me, part of the book is that you transport yourself and your imagination is stimulated.
And I think that's, why I don't know, I always want my kids to keep reading, because that whole thing that you create your own, you've got to use all your imagination.
Visualisation
Yeah.
of what you've thought, and it's never going to be the same as yours, is
And
it?
if you see the movie, it erases everything in your head about what you have.
Yeah.
From reading the book.
But isn't that in a way why it was a bit tragic that they made the Harry Potter movies? Because they're brilliant movies, I love them, but the Harry Potter books got some adolescents reading who didn't ever read.
I've got an answer.
Okay, I've been
No, I
looking for
think-
one.
I disagree, because they will watch the movie
Got one of the cavemen.
and they will go and read the book. The
You think they will read the book?
Same with the Twilight series.
So he's 19.
Okay.
Read one book at school, can't get him to read, went and saw Twilight.
And it's got the whole
Has now
series.
read 4 books.
Yay!
In a year. I mean, that's just amazing.
My girls read. I mean, they might read sort of trashy fiction, American stuff, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's right.
Abe said her son used to read a book till he got a girlfriend. One of the things we agreed that there was absolutely no pressure. Like, if you can't come, it doesn't matter. If you turn up late, it doesn't matter.
If you haven't read the book,
If you haven't read the book, it doesn't matter.
I like the intellectual stimulation.
I think that might be stretching the point.
That's what I wanted to join a book club for. But after the first week...
After the break, Finlay Macdonald investigates the story behind a notable New Zealand book.